Panhandle. They're coming in with a season best 47.87, and take a guess where they're from. Yes, of course, the Panhandle of Texas near Lubbock. They also have Rosebud Lot, who's run 47.89. Fall City 48.70. So just a couple teams to look forward to. Lane assignments: Frankston, Timpson, Vermont, Alto, Big Lake, Reagan County, Tioga, Refugio, Ropes, and Era. Actually, those are the boys. I'm sorry.
Rosebud Lot.
Rosebud Lot, New Home, Bangs, Timpson, Panhandle, Fall City, Honey Grove, Linden, Kildare, and Cisco. Off and running, that is Panhandle and Fall City in 5 and 6, making up ground on the outside. Possibly even Honey Grove with the first exchange. Running down the track, that might be one of the Land sisters giving Panhandle the lead. This is Panhandle. And it's Panhandle, folks. Down and forward, Timpson is in second, but here comes Fall City. Fall City trying to make a play, but it's all day, every day. You're the defending state champions, Panhandle. 47-32 on the clock, so they defend their title and great start to the team title. Timpson second, 48-06. Fall City third, 48-14. So, Scott, so far so good. No sticks hit the track in those 4x1s.
When you start the 4x1 as a coach, you're nervous, and when the gun goes off, you're nervous the whole way around. Are we going to get a good start? Are we going to make those 3 passes correctly? You're never, even if you have the lead, you're never sure until it's done.
Yeah, you're never safe. You can never relax until your team crosses the finish line.
Here they are in lane 7. But we were mentioning James Lott back in the 80s, who high jumped 7 feet 5 and 3/4 of an inch or something like that here at the state meet.
Yeah, his alma mater there in 7. They are the 3-time state champions, back to back to back. See if they can capture 4. Clean start, interesting start there from the Big Lake Reagan County first leg. The angle of it blocked, but so far looks to be pretty even. Good exchange from everybody, I believe, from lane 1 to lane 9. Looking at Ropes making some moves, but that is Big Lake Reagan County.
See what the anchors have, because everybody's right in this thing.
Reagan County, Tioga, Refugio. But it is Reagan County and Tioga. Reagan County has, I think, the stronger anchor leg, and they're going to take the win. 41-69. In lane 8 and in lane 9, Yarita De Leon from Chilton. Scott, we saw the 3,200-meter girls run yesterday morning. Several of those girls are here today. How good was that to have the 32 on a different day for these girls?
Oh, I think it's great for them. I mean, it usually wouldn't work out that way, but yeah, another 12 hours to recover, 15 hours to recover always matters.
Yeah, so instead of doing 3 races, they just have 2, and I say that as is a piece of cake. It is not. Leading the field in the 800, Casey Salazar from La Vila, she's clocked a 17.28 this season, just a bit off of the 2A state record set by Vicky Kosian, which is 2:14.
Yeah, I have an odd thought on training when people say, well, we're going to run the mile and the 2 mile at state. We're not really just training for the mile or 2 mile. We're training to be able to run 3 miles, even though it sounds bizarre, but you have to be fit enough to do that whole thing together. It's not you're fit and then you do another race. You've got to run 3 hard miles that day, or if you're doing all 3 races, 3.5 miles.
Yeah, so completely different game plan from what they came into the weekend with.
It's just a way of approaching it mentally.
Yeah, we mentioned Casey Salazar. She was one of the girls that ran. Abigail Walker, Fate Pioneer, she's under 220. Isabella Jamie from Farwell, 219. She's also under 220. And then Piercy Sims, who won the 32 yesterday, they are all doubling back.
See who's the first to cut in here. Usually you see people race to the cut in, then they settle as we go down to the back stretch.
And that is Casey Salazar getting out pretty quickly there, getting the positioning she wants.
I had her in about 17 seconds first 100. Let's see where we're at for 200 meters here. And
it's roughly 30-something.
yeah.
So she is out to the lead, has a couple strides on second place. Haven't really seen her just settle in yet.
No, she's not settling. You're right. She's pressing. She's pushing the pace here.
And right around 47, 48 for 300 meters.
Yep. Had her in 48.6. So, you know, you're right on 64, 65 second pace here, which is very quick, I think, for a girl's 2A 800.
Yeah, she has this field strung out, comes through at 103-ish and some change.
Yep.
So we'll see if some of these girls in the 3,200 meters were more conservative, and if they're going to put on an attack in the second lap, we will soon see.
So she went. I had her going through in 63, and if she's even able to hold a 65, I'll be very impressed.
At the 500 meter mark, 123, 124. So she is still on the gas here. She's got 10 meters on second place, who now looks to be trying to mount a comeback before it gets too late.
There's one girl back here in second who's still got a shot to go get the leader. We were 136. So that 200 really slowed to about 33.8, which I expected. The third 200, that's what happens in the 800.
And with less than, well, I say 120 meters to go now, it is still Casey Salazar from La Vila, but the chase is on.
It is.
They're going to have to get on their giddy up if they want to catch her, because she is still pumping those arms.
Yep.
And the press is coming from third place, but I don't think she's going to catch first or second. Just as I say that, she does move past the second place runner. But unofficially, 2:13.92 for Casey Salazar. Yeah. She went 110 on that second lap.
Yeah, she went 63.5 and then 70.3. So she did slow, but, you know, she won the race in the first 400. She stretched it enough that she could even afford to run a 70 and still win. She still could have run a 71.5 or 72.1.
And I think not having that 3,200 meters before that definitely played a part in that.
Yeah.
Isabella Jamie from Farwell, she was able to kick it in and edge Abby Walker from Fate Pioneer Technology for second, 2:15.12 to 2:15.22. They're on the 4x4s, and I think one of them's in the 400. They are all state cross-country runners in 2A. And so you see them here in the 8, the 4, and the 16. But the Bataan boys can run, as I mentioned, Carl 155.85. Jonah White from Bremond ran 159. Haven Farias from Vermont also 159. So those are the guys under 2 minutes that we'll be looking for here.
Yeah.
Lane assignments. Lane 1, Jonah White from Bremond, Yandel Meza Seagraves, Gavin Matias from Moody, Adrian Ramirez, Tenaha, Tristan Evans, Bartlett, lane 5. 6 through lane 9, Carl Patan from Hawley, Jeremiah Gonzalez Plains, Michael Flores, Itasca, and Haven Farias, Vermont. And I think one of the things we saw from Salazar is she took out. And then on the 300-meter mark, I think she used to to her advantage, not really pressing too much on the home stretch, except, of course, at the final 100 meters.
She ran really strong between the 100 and 200. Then she came around again in 63. That was enough to carry her. If the other girls, you know, I was thinking about it later, then it would have taken – so she runs 2:13. If the girl in second who runs 2:15 could have just run, say, 67, 66, she might have won, beating her with 2:13 flat. But it's hard to hold yourself back enough to where you have the gas for the second lap. When you see somebody pulling away from you, you instinctively chase them. And so it's really tough mentally to say, you know what, that's a little over my head. I need to pull myself back, stay right here, and then give myself that chance. It's going to be at the very end. It's not going to be right now, but I got to be patient and wait for that.
And I listened to you guys last 2 days talk about strategic running like that. We see it more in the girls. Well, I say executed properly in the girls, and the boys, they just go at it.
Yeah.
So we'll see if the 2A 800-meter boys can successfully, strategically plot and plan their races like the girls did.
Girls tend to do more homework than the guys. So. I anticipate they're more thoughtful about what they're doing. The guys are, what you said, they're instinctual.
Yeah, we'll see if their instincts allow them to execute their game plans as we are off here in the 2A boys 800.
That's one of the things, if you have a superior runner, you can actually bait people into doing things they don't want to do by running too hard early, which just destroys their physiology, and they're not able to run.
And we're seeing someone go out hard. I think that is Carl Patan.
He's going out extremely fast here. I have 24.5, which is, I don't believe he's going to run anything close to that in any of the next 3 200s.
Well, sub 150 guys go 24, well, I say 125-ish mid. So he's definitely on top of that.
Remember, a 150 is 27.5 average.
And he slowed it down that 100 because he came to 40, high 41-ish.
Yeah, he's not going to run 140. So
more manageable 53 high.
Yeah, so there he ran a 28.5, but he went 24.5, 28.5. Again, if he even, he's broken everybody. What he can do, he has the luxury right now with such a lead, he can actually relax and actually slow down, gather himself. We used to call it the second wind 50 years ago, but he does gather himself, and then he's able to run again this last 200.
111, 112 through 500, and we'll get his 600, 123. So I mentioned he can run 16, 15 high in 5K, and he runs sub 50 in a 400. That's why he looks good.
Run, again, about 24.5, then 28.5, then 30. He came through the 600 in 122.76, which is outstanding.
He's going to have to hold on. It's the Carl Patan racing. Everybody else battling for second, and that is where the race is at if he can hold on these last 50 meters. Struggling just a little bit, but he doesn't lose form. He's going to get the win here, 156.40. It's a hard way to run 156. However, he gets the championship.
But he gets to win because he broke everybody else so early.
Right. He was safe with it, 156.36.
And that allowed him on the backstretch on the second lap to really just relax, recover, and then get ready to run the last 150.
Right. And, I mean, you said relax on the backstretch where he had the wind. Second was Jonah White from Bremond, 158.05. Tristan Evans, third, 158.70. Those are your medalists. Jeremiah Gonzalez, 159.72 also. I should say the fourth person. 1,000 questions coming at me about us flipping the track. They weren't too happy. In the end, we had to agree to disagree. However, they need to get with the program. They're running with the wind, so we're running from finish to start instead of start to finish here for the hurdles and the hundreds.
So are you commenting on last week's flipping the track or doing it here?
Well, we're doing it here. They had a bunch of questions for all these great, grandiose Texas times. And I was like, hey, it's what we do. We run with the wind. So
that's part of our culture here.
Yeah.
Are you saying it's not in
the Northeast people, they're not fans of it.
Oh, they're not fans of it.
No, they're not.
Okay.
However,
I
don't think these two-way girls are mad at that. We have Anya Mitchell from Lovelady with the fastest time, 14:83 wind legal time. She was ninth here last year. And Drew Normandy, 14:91. Actually, Normandy was the silver. Mitchell was a silver medalist, and Normandy was Stewart was ninth last year. And the gun is off. Good start there in the middle. And down in lane 2. And outside. So these
really close
lane draws have girls all over the place, and we're pretty much even through all these hurdles coming through the finish line. Wow. The timer is going to have to sort that out for us, Scott.
I'm assuming it's one of those one or 2 100ths of a second differentials coming up here on the board because it was close. But we're looking down the track, so we don't have the best angle on it.
And it is Drew Stewart from Normandy. Looks like getting the win. I think. Yeah, they gave it to her 14:50. Madeline Ray from Lovelady, 14:55 from the outside. So it looked like Mitchell in the center had the headway, but the girls on the outside and the inside were able to close in on her as Mitchell finished third, 14:66. So it's these lane draws where you typically have your top girls in the middle of the track, top girls and boys. Sure. However, it's supposed to be like a draw, and
like,
they just get what they get. That allows us not to focus on the middle. You got to watch out for the inside,
watch
the outside, the middle.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we rejoin you here in time for the 2A and 5A boys 110-meter hurdles. We have the 2A boys on the track. We have 10 sets of hurdles on the track as well. Ready to get this started. Leading the field coming in today is Meshach Griffin, from Holland. He was 5th in this race last year. We're keeping an eye out on him. We're also watching Beckfield's Aiden Harris under 15 seconds. He was just off his teammate Jacoby Williams from last year, was a state title winner. Lane assignments: Mason Langford, Groover 1, Will Andrews Whitewright 2, Aiden Carwell Junction 3, Landon Urias McCamey 4, Meshach Griffin Holland 5, Aiden Harris Beckfield 6, Keandre LaShaw, Austin Semank, and Jace Roberts rounding out 7 through 9.
Watching the flags, they've kind of laid down here just for a second.
And we are off. Good start there in 4 and 5 through the first 2 hurdles. And lane 8 looks like is joining the party here. We are 3 across, 2 hurdles to go, 1 barrier, and the race to the finish line was on. Those flags are limp, so I think that's going to be a win legal race here. We'll see what the times are. And the win, 14:57, goes to Meshach Griffin. We called his name, and he comes through. Aiden Harris, Beckfield, 14:61 is second, and Austin Semank from Burton, 14:70 for third. 3 medalists go under 15 seconds. Scott?
Well, from our perspective, and again, we're at the start-finish line. We can't really see where they're finishing as well, but it looked like Griffin really closed that last 10 meters to take the win.
Yeah, I think it was from start to finish between him and I think that was Harris.
Seamock was in the mix there until about the 8th hurdle, and then he fell back just a slight bit.
It's coming up in the girls' 100 meters.
Yeah, some of these girls are definitely under 12. They're in the 11s.
And
maybe not in 2A, but certainly in 5A.
Yeah, and we have a couple girls returning from last year. Keandra Wilson from Marlins run 12:24. Grace Reglan Tahoka, Lexi Mahardes, Kendall Whitley, and Johnny Baldundiak from Bosqueville, all quality athletes, which they are, or else they wouldn't be here at the state meet. So
absolutely,
they're hoping they get the luck that the hurdlers had with some win legal performances here.
These guys are probably mostly your skill position players in football. A lot of them are running backs, receivers, possibly quarterbacks, defensive backs.
That would be on the boys' side, but we have the ladies here.
You're right.
And we talked about Refugio. They have 2 girls. In lane 1 is going to be a Keandra Wilson Marlin, Lexi Mijares Seagraves, and 2 Keandra Johnson Fall City, and 3 Tahoka Gray Reglan, and 4 Carly McClain, one of the Refugio girls we're talking about, and 5 Kate Jackson Timpson, 6 Johnny Balduniak Bosqueville, 7 Jasmine Howard, the other Refugio young lady, and Kendall Whitley Tioga in lane 9. So, Refugio girls, they won the state title last year. We'll see if they can do it again. 2 girls in 100 meters. That bodes well. Let's say you have some speed, so they possibly have some outstanding relays to come. We'll see if they can get some points here. They don't have any representatives in the boys' 100 meters, so the girls are going to have to hold it down for them. And in the 800 meters, we saw the wind kind of how it is now at a tailwind since they're flipping it. But the hurdles in the last race, we saw a negative wind for the boys. So really interesting. I don't know if it's coming through for the North and bouncing off the Moody Center right there in front of us or whatever. But it's kind of like acoustics and sound. Just maybe coming through swirling. But they have the hurdles off the track and the girl flat runners on the track, just waiting for the officials to blow their whistles.
Almost not a cloud in the sky right now.
And in case you're at home wondering what the state record is, it is 11:51 by Courtney Johnson from a couple years ago, 2014 actually to be exact. She's from, I believe, Italy. She went on to have an outstanding college career. So these ladies are chasing an outstanding mark for 2A girls with 11:5.
Look at the crowd here on the home side. It's impressive today.
Right, and with both races, or both
divisions,
well, I guess all 4 divisions being today, they have the luxury of watching some amazing track and field in the morning, and if they stay, getting more in the afternoon and evening session. So, I mean, we were talking, that's the way it was before they went to the 3-day format. They had 2 and 5A Friday night, 3 and 4 during the morning session, and then 1 and 6 in the evening. So kind of back to that format thanks to the pivot they had to make for last night's weather.
Yeah, it's good we had the luxury to do that because, you know, if it would have been today where you had the possibility of storms and so forth, now you're really looking at some issues.
Yeah, they got a view of my boy Elton Irvin there on the screen for from Atascocita before they switched the camera. But so talking about that, one of my friends, Darius Wilmington, his daughter runs the 5A hurdles today. He told me back when he was a senior, that there was a lightning and weather delay. He didn't run till after midnight.
Oh, that's correct. There have been a couple of those. I remember one in the early, well, it would have been in the mid-'80s, late 80s, where we didn't run until about 1:20 in the morning, the mile and the mile relay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So not much of a pivot you could do on
No,
Saturday.
they just kept waiting and waiting. We were back over across the street in the stadium, and people were waiting underneath the stadium, and it was 1:20, 1:30 in the morning before we got to the mile relay.
Wow. Well, fingers crossed that doesn't happen today or tonight. And the 1A girls have their commands, and they are on their mark. Again, Wilson, Mijares, Johnson, Reglin, McLean, Jackson, Balduniak, Howard, and Whitley. See Reglin getting a nice little stretch there for she gets everything gathered.
Set.
Queen start there. Great start there from Keandra Wilson down in lane 1. But here comes Jasmine Howard from Refugio and her teammate, Carly McLean. So a great finish there from the Refugio girls. However, I think that's Keandra Wilson from Marlin down in lane 1, and it is 11:83, 2.0 on the dot. So that counts, folks. Carly McLean, Jasmine Howard from Refugio, they go 2-3, 11:90 for McLean, 12:02 for Howard. Those are your 3 medalists. Keandra Johnson from Fall City, 12:12, 12:18 for Keandra Johnson.
Something just happened.
So, yeah, there we have it. Looking at the screen, 11:83. So far off from the 11:5 that we talked about from Courtney Johnson, but that is an impressive run there down in lane 1. She possibly used her peripheral vision from the left to scout the girls, but Wilson with a great start didn't let up.
She just literally exploded out of the blocks.
Boys, we mentioned Refugio has no representation here. However, Marlin does once again. And they're in lane 1 once again with Keyshawn Massington, Tevin Mead from Miles in lane 2, Hagan Darney from Tom Bean in 3. From Junction right down the street, well, not right down the street, but not too far, Caden Roberts, Coldren Dockery, Ropesville Ropes is in 5, Malik Johnson, Grapeland in 6, Sam Mott, Tioga in lane 7, Michael Bryant from Frankston is in lane 8, and from Shiner, Tristan Vesley is in lane 9. Dockery has a 1080C, but a 1067 best. Sam Mott from Tioga ran 1061 at his area meet. Darney with a 1066. Johnson 1090, Mead 1092. Those are your guys under 11 seconds this year. So quite a bit of guys who can race it out here for us. See if they get some good starts and some cooperation from Mother Nature with legal wins.
What's the fastest time we had coming into this?
Coming in, 1067.
1067. It's legit.
It is. We saw Cape Hart the other day, and I think that was the 3A boys. He repeated his state championships, I think 10-2. I don't think that was one legal, but still, that's putting it down.
It was really fast. Yeah, I believe it was 10:26, something like that.
And the on your mark command has been given, as sprinters do. Scott, they jump up and down, take their good sweet time getting in the blocks. One of these days we're gonna change this and just get right to it. However, 2A boys almost ready to rock and roll.
Thinking about the pitch clock in pro baseball.
That shot clock in basketball, we just need the lights like racing and when they go. But one day. And we're off. Great start there from Tevin Mead and Miles down in lane 2. And the drive phase is over. We're going to see who's got the top end speed here.
Oh,
like maybe, is that Mott in lane 7? In green, that is, from Tioga. From my eyes, my vantage point, I think that's Mott. What say you, Mr. Timer? 1070, 2.5 meter per second, but Sam Mott gets the win down there in lane 7. Coulter Dockery from Ropes, just a sophomore, 1070 in lane 5 for second. And I think they're giving third to Malik Johnson from Grapeland in 1083.
Yeah.
Keyshawn Massington with the great start there in lane 4, 1085, 1088 for Hagan Darney. Michael Bryant, 1091. Tevin Mead, 1097. Caden Roberts, 1098.
Guy that stuck out to me is lane 1. His close was good. He really closed the last 30 meters.
Yeah, a lot of those guys were closing hard, and everybody under 11 seconds except for one kind of showcases that. Cisco in lanes 1, 2, and 3. Lyndon, Kildare, Refugio, Panhandle, 4, 5, and 6. Crawford, Fall City, Chilton, 7, 8, and lane 9. Refugio leads the field so far this year. The 142.14 coming in. They have Jasmine Howard and Carly McLean, who we just saw in the 100 meters moments ago. They look poised, ready to contend for a state championship. Speaking of state championships, Fall City gave you their lane assignments. They are the defending state champions, and we are off. Watch out for them and Panhandle. 4x1 has a lot of speed, but the handoffs, I'm not going to say they're not important, but not as crucial, Scott, as the 4x1s.
No, definitely not. You're not running as fast, and you definitely just need to get this. You get to stick around much more frequently.
Panhandle looks like they're having some problems there as Refugio hands off first, and they're in a hole is Panhandle. Refugio definitely crushing it, as is Fall City. Actually, that's Chilton out there. I think Fall City is in a deficit as well. Crawford looks like they're crushing it at the moment. Refugio. Refugio's going to hand off first. Everybody else with some work, especially two of your leader favorites, should I say, Fall City and Panhandle. I believe this is Jasmine for Refugio. See how she holds up just coming off the 100 meters. So far, so good. But Fall City making a comeback out there in lane 8. Refugio with a nice size lead. But they have Carly McLean, so they have their tire runners on 3rd and 4th. First two legs got them out there looking pretty, but here comes the field. And that's Panhandle, Cisco, Fall City, but Panhandle with a strong comeback. But nobody's catching Refugio, Scott.
No.
141.29 is their winning time. As we mentioned, they had two girls coming off the 100, a little bit tired, but hey, they're young, they can handle it.
Yeah, every minute they had to recover it counted. It mattered.
Actually, I thought that one was clean on anchor, but it was not. So they had Howard and McLean in the, I guess, kind of in the middle, and supplemented them with some fresh girls, and they come away with the state title. Panhandle 142.65. They had to dig them and Fall City had to come out of a hole. Not the greatest starts, but they still finished for silver and bronze. 6, 7, 8, and 9. Tioga, Frankston, Italy, and Bremond. Tioga is at the top of the leaderboard coming in today with a 127.87. They did that at Region 2.
So before this event begins, Tioga has 26 points. Big Lake Reagan County has 20 points. Ropes has 20. Stratford has 20. Howley 18. Joaquin 18. Holland has 14. And Bremond has 12 in 8th, tied with Plains with 12 in 8th place.
Well, some of the teams at the top are Tioga
Yep.
and Reagan County. They are some of the favorites. Like I said, Tioga 127. Big Lake County with the 4th fastest time, 129.03.
So this is going to be a really important race for these guys.
Yeah, Mason and Wellington might spoil some of those point-scoring opportunities for them as Mason comes in the 128.39 and Wellington 128.79. But like you said, Reagan County and Tioga, two of the top 4 times coming into today.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have great athletes, but if you don't have the relays secure at the UI State Championships, you're in trouble. But we're seeing some of these teams having that punch to kind of supplement their scoring with these double points. And Reagan County and Tioga are right next to one another in lanes 5 and 6.
Set.
Clean start as we've had so far all day, knock on wood. We've already done some wood knocking. Tioga, lane 6 in the green, looking good. They're distancing themselves so far from Reagan County on this first leg. They get the first exchange, I think, clearly. We had a young man go down on the backstretch. I don't think it's affected the outgoing runner, however. So the race goes on, but Tioga crushing it then lane 6 in the green. Reagan County making a comeback ever so slightly, but they're still behind. Italy and Bremond on the outside, see if they can hold off. But they have the longer turns. It is still Tioga. Got Mason and Reagan County charging hard. Great third legs get them back in it. But it's Tioga out there. What can Mason do on his anchor leg? Can they close the gap?
They are definitely closing, I think.
They are in white on white. And here they come. Here comes Reagan County also. But Tioga's anchor leg is strong.
Ooh, he's good.
To no avail. They don't catch him. So big points there for Tioga. And he tells us about it. Let's go. He said a little bit more emphatically. I didn't want to get too hyped for y'all on here. But Tioga, what is that time, folks? 1:27.63, so right up there with their fastest time coming into today. Mason with a good third and fourth leg, 1:28.07, and a monster anchor leg from Big Reagan County, just unable to catch the top two, 1:28.13. So, looking good so far. I think things, I'm going to say, kind of went according to plan based on the times coming in. Hicko has Kaylee Hunt in 3, Chastity Gonzalez from San Saba in 4, Gracie Brown Nakona in 5. She has won this before. Isabella Jamie in lane 6. We saw her run the 800, and it's good for her that she ran the 3200 yesterday, so a little bit rest for her. Taylor Stewart Timpson in 7, Anna Piercy Hamilton in 8, and Aislinn Dewberry from Wink in lane 9. Piercy, another one of those girls who is running multiple events, and she was benefiting from having today's races roll over instead of running yesterday. I mentioned Gracie Brown from Nakona. She didn't she didn't medal in this last year, but she won 2 years ago. So definitely keep an eye out on her. She leads the field coming in with a 57.86 performance. Anna Piercy, who I mentioned, she's on the ladder on the outside lane. She ran 58.31. Hamilton has an outstanding squad, and they're looking to get some points here. Kaylee Hunt from Hicko, 58.89 is her time coming in. Isabella Jamie, she ran the 32. She ran the 800 today. Now she's here in the 400. She ran 58.49 coming in today. So those are the sub 59 second runners, and they're on the track today, getting ready to race it out for the 400 meter state championship. So when you're talented, Scott, and you win a state championship as a junior, as a sophomore, pardon me, as Casey Hunt in lane 3 has done, and you don't replicate that as your junior year, how hungry does that make you coming back?
I'm sure it makes you very hungry. I think you have a lot to prove today.
And I said Katie Hunt. I meant Gracie Brown from the Nakona. She's in actually lane 5.
I'm sure, again, we talked about thinking of track months ago. I'm sure she's been thinking of this for several months.
Probably 12. And she did run 800 last year, which I think may have taken some out of her legs.
Okay.
She didn't run it this year.
That makes sense.
So I expect her to be aggressive, and right off this turn, she is. She's already got the stagger made up on Isabella Jamie, who did run the 800 earlier today. And you see her execute a perfect strategy. She gets out hard and then kind of strides and coasts on the backstretch. And she's made up the stagger. Kaylee Hunt from Hicko in lane 3 looked like she's doing some damage on this race as well. But now we'll see how they handle the turn and then handle coming off. See what their conditioning is like. But that is your girl, Gracie Brown from Nakona. She's a half miler who didn't run the half mile, so you know she's strong, and she is demonstrating that at the moment.
Yeah.
Hunt is going to hold on for second. But look at that. We talked about whether she wanted to win it again, and I think that expression says it all. Look at the face. She holds up 2 number 1 fingers, and she has 2 state championships because of that. I mean, that says a lot. You're on top, and then you get knocked down. That could do a lot to your psyche and a career.
Yeah.
But for her sticking with it, I think she know that she ran the 800 and that took a bit out last year. But a lot of girls and guys do that. She came back, I think, motivated to win another state title, and kudos to her. Kaylee Hunt, Hicko, 51 for second. Has Jose Carranza in 3. Austin Pena Ganado is in 5. Patan, who we already talked about, Pena's in 4. Patan is in 5. Cam Agredo from Sonora is in lane 6. Gunnar Douglas, Cayuga is in lane 7. Carl Patan, who we talked about him and his brother.
Yes.
He's in lane 8. Nate Clement Lindsay is in 9. So we talked about Gracie, who ran 800 last year and wasn't as successful in the 400. We'll see what Carl can do here, and he's got his twin brother who's probably just as formidable as he is to deal with. Albert Booker from Trent has the 2A state record, 47.49, from back in 2001. Francis has the fastest time this year, 48.39. His brother Carl, 48.83. So those are the two boys coming in with sub-49 second runs. Clement from Lindsay has run 49.33, so keep an eye out on him. Everyone else is 50 seconds and above.
2A is interesting. There's 54 schools that have scored at least a half a point. At the top of the leaderboard, Tioga has 46 points, Big Lake, Reagan County 32, Bremond 20, Ropes 20, Stratford 20, Mason 18, Holly 18. So, going to add some points here to the boys 400.
And with this race, I talked about the Patan brothers' ability to run really well in cross country. They are dipping down, showing their speed here, 48 guys. Does Carl, have enough to come off that 800? We saw him kind of fade, maybe not fade, but maybe conserve in that second lap.
I think so. He's obviously a very strong kid. If he runs cross country, he's got a lot of strength.
Brotherly love. We'll see how much Francis shows his brother. I don't think he's showing much because he's out to a hot start here. He's just looking at his brother Carl and Nate Clement out in lane 8, who he has yet to catch. But he is looking really good. Actually, I'm looking at Carl, man. He's look like he still has some life in him.
Well, he's probably thinking I can rest tomorrow, so.
Good one right there. But it's his brother Francis.
They're going to score 18 big points here.
Yeah, we saw the Stroman brothers go 1-2 the other day. It's going to be Patan with Francis winning a state title, joining his brother, and Francis gets second. Look at that. If I didn't have my eye on Francis already, I wouldn't know who's who. But we saw the Stroman brothers go 1-2 the other day, and now Patans. How big is that, do you think, in the household?
I think they're going to enjoy Thanksgiving either way. I think those guys they're very grateful for each other, and they work together. And I don't think they think much about who won or didn't win. They're just proud for each other and happy for each other.
I disagree, maybe. However, I don't know for sure. But 48.01 for Francis, good time there. Carl doubling back off of the 155, 48.56. That tells a lot about their conditioning, man. Also, he came from lane 4, gets in third, 49, previous state record. However, she got second. But she's back to do it all again. She's run 43.85 this year. She's going to battle with Norman G's Drew Stewart, who we saw her in the 100 hurdles a little bit earlier this morning. She's run 45.32. Well, she ran that last year where she finished 4th at state meet. So she was here. She's back. 43.91 from her district meet is her season best. So we have several girls in their blocks getting things set, ready to go. Start list for this race. Casey Neighbors from Frankston is lane 1. Tyron Aranda from Groover in 2. Zayania Morrow from Bremond in 3. Caden Weatherly Eras in 4. The aforementioned Carly Land, just a sophomore, is in lane 5. Drew Stewart, we talked about her already. She's in lane 6. So they're going to be able to see and feel each other. Caitlin Payeva from Mason is in 7. Pearson Hearn Cisco is in 8. And from Stinnett, West Texas, Scout Pearls in lane 9. Scott, I don't want to say I ran the hurdles once. I ran over a hurdle one time.
Okay.
And as a distance runner,
Evidently that didn't feel well.
it feel well. I don't. Yeah, no, it did not go well
It
at all.
didn't go well.
It turned in running over the hurdle into a wrestle match with the hurdle, or the hurdle wrestling
and the
with my
hurdle
legs.
won?
Oh yeah, for sure. So, that's my lone experience. Everything else, me and hurdles has been watching, and that's probably the best scenario.
After that, we stayed as far away as we could.
For sure, I'd rather run straight than run and jump over a hurdle. I was jumping, so that was what went wrong. So these girls are more adept at it and better while they're here at the Texas State meet. They have their mark command and ready to go.
I see the gun is up.
Set.
Off and running. Another clean start. That is Drew Stewart. We talked about her. She's already off and running. She's got Carly Land on her left, and they hurdle together pretty much. Little stutter there from Land. Stewart ran to the hurdle, and she's over. She has a slight lead right now.
It's close. It's going to be very close.
And this is the hardest part of this race. We're going to see who is more conditioned or has the bigger, deeper heart. And they hit that one together. One more barrier. Shoulder to shoulder here, Scott. Land had the momentum coming off of that last hurdle. And she goes 42.71. That is a new 2A state record.
So that helped Panhandle. Refugio before the race had 60 points, and Panhandle had 42. So Panhandle closed it down to 8 points. Panhandle now has 52 points. They're 8 points behind Refugio. Provided Refugio didn't have any points in that, correct? I don't believe so.
No.
So Panhandle has closed it down here to 60 to 52.
And medals. Her sister won the 400 a couple years back. She's at Texas Tech. She's got another sister who's going to be in the relay teams. And if you're the coach at Fort Bend Marshall, you'll say, hey, sophomore, we need you. Go get some big points. You had McKinney North right in that race with them that they're battling. So that says a lot about the staff and about the runner to be able to come through. That's going to move us to the boys. Looks like the hurdle crew has things squared away. So, Kale Kaysen out of Valley View. 37.10 is a 2A record from back in 2018, not too long ago. Nevertheless, he's holding on to that record. Braden Cervantes from Forts End, he's gone 39.83. So unless they really get on there, they go berserk today. I think that record is good to hold up. Aiden Carwell from Junction, 39.89. We saw him run in the 110s, pardon me. And those are the only guys coming in, I believe, under 40 seconds. Mason Langford from Groover, 40.01. He is just outside there, as is Robert Fogel from Whitewright. He's gone 40.04. And I take that back. Cole Tyndall from Axtell, he's gone 39.93.
Quick point update for the 5A boys. 13 of 17 events scored. Iowa Colony has 54 in first. Frisco Heritage 34 in second. McKinney North was in third with 28. Marshall with 24 in fourth, and Timberview with 22 in fifth.
So Marshall moves up possibly on the podium, or closer to the podium with that.
They're 4 points behind McKinney North right now. It's interesting, Frisco Heritage scored 30 points by winning the discus, the shot, and the long jump in the field events.
And they, too, were looking for points in that last race. Here we have the boys. Tyndall, Reverka, Castillo, Fogel, Cervantes, Cardell, Morris, Langford, and Stewart. Looks like Cervantes running crazy there in lane 5.
Yeah, he got out really well. He's still attacking hurdles.
Looks like Major Morris also looking good. But then Cardwell. I think that's Cardwell from Junction there in the mix. Cardwell, Cervantes. We have a runner go down. Oh, then we have another go down. I think that is Cervantes. Aiden Cardwell is going to take another state championship to Junction. We've seen them win several events here in the last couple of years. Unfortunately, I think that's Cardwell. No, that Cervantes went down. And that's the hurdles. A great race comes down to just inches when fatigue and lactic acid takes over with one hurdle. Caleb Castillo, 40.77, gets in for second. The ebbs and flows of the 300/400 hurdles are just, man, it could be a beautiful race, but so
It can be
brutal
hard
to you
yeah.
at the same time. Mason Langford from Groover, a freshman, gets in for the bronze medal, 40.78. And your heart has to go out to Cervantes. He ran a perfect race almost to that point.
Yes. I'm seeing if they ended up giving him 8th or 9th.
I don't know. It looks like two guys kind of walked across the line together.
Yeah, they did.
Good sportsmanship.
Yeah, it was. It was Robert Fogel, I believe, that helped him up off the track.
I think he's a young man that fell on the penultimate hurdle, or maybe the second to last hurdle. So he's like, hey, my race is over. Let's do this together, bro.
He showed a lot of sportsmanship right there. Very class act.
Where they normally finish is where they're going to start, and where they start is where they're going to finish. Lane assignments are Kinley Waitrick from Fall City in lane 1, Jade Anduo from Sunray in 2, Tioga has Kendall Whitley in 3, Kate Jackson Timpson 4, Carly McLean Refugio in 5, Lexi Mijares Seagraves in 6, Johnny Balduniak Bosqueville in 7. From Chilton in lane 8 is Zenobia Coleman, and from Tahoka, Grace Reglin.
So of our top 5 teams in the team scoring for the ladies, Refugio in first with 60 points, and Falls City in third, tied for third in with 28. They both have hurdlers in this event, so that'll make a difference here.
200. We're in a 200.
Oh gosh, what am I looking at?
You want some more hurdle action?
No, well, I'm sorry, but I'm talking about the team scores after 14 events.
So speaking of Refugio, one of those teams, Carly McLean. She is the top qualifier from the regional championships, 25-15. She's gone 25-11, though, on the season. We talked about Lexi Mijares from Seagraves. She's run 25-37. Grace Reglin on the outside. I think she's in lane 9, and she is from Tahoka. She's gone 25-49. And you mentioned Fall Cities, who needs points. Kinley Waitrek has gone 25. Trip home, stopping between here and San Antonio. Have some fun, take some photos with that trophy, if they come through with it.
Well, at the very least, they're going to come up with the runner-up trophy, so they're in the top 2 for sure.
So you're saying they can't be caught?
Now they can be caught for first theoretically. I don't know what Panhandle has left, but they wouldn't fall any worse than the second.
And the official is going to talk to the young lady in lane 4. It's Kate Jackson.
Huh. I didn't see what that was about.
So I don't think switching the track makes too big of a difference. Straights are straights, turns are turns. They're all the same if the tracks are measured correctly. This, like you said, just the turns are not as tight as your typical track, so they're pretty wide. However, if you're out in lane 8 and 9, it seems like a long way, especially at the beginning of this turn.
Yeah.
Ideal lanes are still 4, 5, and 6. And that's Jackson, McLean, and Mijares.
Set.
And a good start. And from our vantage point, it looks like McLean is getting it.
Yes.
She's got the stagger made up on everyone from her outside, and nobody inside looks like they're going to catch her. Can she pull it out to give Refugio 10 more huge points? So she's got the form, but on the outside, she may be getting a push from Reglin, and they were two of the top times coming in. McLean, she's looking, she's hoping, she's praying, and she sees she has a state championship just over the allowable. So they flip the track and just 0.1 over, but 21.04 for Carlin McLean and 10 points for Refugio.
That moves Refugio to 70 points. And I believe that's going to give him a 18-point lead over Panhandle now.
So McLean, the junior, she's back next year. Coleman, 25-26, and Jackson, who got a conversation with the official before the race, 25-31. They're both sophomores. Johnny Balduniak, fourth, is also just a junior. So a lot of those girls coming back to do it again next year. And next up, the 2A boys. And we talked about the Patan brothers and their range, I'll say. I'm not sure if that's one of them down in lane 6 because my stuff went out yet again.
Okay.
But it is Francis. We talked about his 5K ability. He won the 400 over his brother. Now here he is in the 2. And I'm pretty sure he's going to have to double back for the, well, not double back, but quadruple back for the 4x4. That's that kind of range. How many people can do that? Not many.
I've seen only a couple.
So lane assignments are Aiden Gaona from Luis, Sean Ramos out of Post, out from West Texas, Keyshawn Massington from Marlin, Tristan Moorhead, Vermont, Kason Brown from Big Lake, Reagan County, Francis Patan out of Hawley, Wyatt Sutton, Golden, DeMarcus Lewis, I get those names right, from Wellington, and in lane 9 from Tioga, Austin Norwood. Brown has gone 21:37. Lewis 21:35. 21:27 for Ramos. Patan, Norwood, they've gone 21:65 and 21:86. Looks like lane 4 is missing. Tristan Moorhead. Here we are, the last, I think, consequential race as far as fall starts.
I think he won.
The guy from the outside, I think that was maybe DeMarcus Lewis, was making a push. He was in the red. It did look like Patan got the lean over Brown.
Oh, no.
No, he did not.
He's going to lose by 100th if he did. Yep, 100.
And it probably came down to 1,000.
He did lose by 100th. Yeah, it was maybe 1,000th.
But they have Moorhead down from Vermont, but I think that lane was vacant, so we'll see how that figures out. But 21:54 for Big Lake, Reagan County's Kason Brown. Now they switched it.
Oh, they did?
We're playing this game. Can Patan.
I did call from over here.
You did. That's what it looked like. However, we're 200 meters away. So they're riding a roller coaster. But I think they know. They were there. They did it. So it is Patan. 21:54. Kason Brown with the outstanding race there, 21:55. And Marcus Lewis, 21:59. He was the one coming on strong out of Wellington for third. Great run by all those gentlemen because 5 of them were under 22 seconds. Wow. We can talk about that more in a little bit because there's a lot to unpack. Patan's ability, oh, my gosh, is just off the charts, folks. If you're looking for a good runner, there's one.
Phew.
On to the 5A girls. Emily Bartett Goldwaith, Victoria Guerrero from Coleman, Casey Salazar from La Villa, Kara Sims, Elysian Field, Kate Legenfeld from Hamilton, Jackie Early, Johnson City, LBJ, Alexis Wade Farwell, Presley Long, Hamilton. A lot of these girls' names I'm familiar with from cross country. You ought to be familiar with them also, especially Salazar, who won the 800 earlier today, and Sims, who you called her race yesterday in the 32.
Yeah, the extra day to recover, I think, makes a huge difference. If you just ran the 3,200 yesterday and you had a full we're beyond 24 hours now, so it that's a huge advantage compared to even running last night.
For sure. Sims did run the 800 earlier today as well. However, she is the top seed with a 5:06.83 season best. The 2A state record from 2011 is Kelsey Herms' 5:04.75. So that's within reach. Casey Salazar has gone 5:09. So you have two state champions there, not too far off of that state record.
Right. Distance runners aren't robots, so they can't just produce same times every single time out there. So, because you've run a 5:10 doesn't mean you're going to match that on any given day. That may happen, may not.
Good point there.
Yeah.
I have expectations for them. However, they do those things separately. When you get here, unless it turns into a schematic or strategic type of race, I think we should see a top time despite the several races they have on their legs this weekend. Behind them, though, is Jackie Early, Presley Long, and Yarita De Leon, who have all run between 5:22 and 5:25. Kelsey Legenfield also in that mix, as in Bartek and Wade. And we're out, and you saw Sims do this yesterday in the 3200, take out early and never look back. So far, out to the early lead. And not even 100 meters in, Salazar joins her. So 2 state championship winners so far this year leading this pack. We'll see the hip numbers as they all come around to see how the order plays out for the rest of them.
Went through the 200 in about 36, so we're on about 72 pace, but I assume we'll slow to 73, 74 for the first 400 here. We've got a gap between the first 2 and the third runner.
And so in your years of doing this, you have one state champion with half the distance, the other state champion with double the distance. Who has the upper hand here?
Just depends. If you're the strength person, the 2-miler, you have to really push the pace. If you're the half-miler who's moving up, you just hope that the pace is slow enough that you can become a half-miler, use your half-miler speed at the end of the race.
Yeah, and that is Yarita De Leon there in third. Salazar, I think, ran 2:15 a day, I believe, but Sims ran 2:18, so she has some wheels as well.
Yeah, she really pushed it in the 800 earlier. Remember, she's the one that went out in 63 seconds and then finished with the 70. So,
see how much that taxed them. Coming up on the 600, 153-ish.
Okay.
So far, still a 2-girl race. We have 3, as you mentioned, in no man's land between the top 2 and then the other 4 behind them. About 10 meters both directions, north and south of them. However, it is still Cara Sims and Casey De Leon. Excuse me, Casey Salazar and Yarita De Leon.
If I'm Sims, I really push this third lap to make sure that I have enough of a gap that I can hold on in case she's able to kick on me.
So you're saying she has the stamina being a
right.
3200
So
meter.
really push right here. If you're in the lead, really push it. And of course, Salazar is hoping she doesn't really push it, so she has a chance in that last 400 to come back and get her.
And those 2 are still up there. De Leon still your third position runner,
So
but Presley Long.
They really actually slowed the second lap. Went 74 and then 79. So we slowed a lot. It's an illusion. Everybody looks like they're falling back, but actually everybody fell way off the pace.
And that chase group is pretty much going for a battle for that third medal, as there are 6 girls there working that out.
310, which is just over 506, 507 pace for the leader. Now she's 550 meters from finishing the race here.
And you mentioned 505 being part of that pace. 504.75 is the state record, the conference record, should I say. So that is within range if Sims continues to push it.
Yeah. She'd need a really strong last lap here.
I think she did what you said she should do. She's
Yeah.
brought a little more gapping between her and
She
Salazar.
did. Because if you give Salazar a chance, there is that chance she'll come back and get you. 350. So she went 74, 78, 78.
And Salazar was energized as she crossed the line.
Yep.
But a lot of distance there. It's not over yet. The race is still, though, 4-3rd as three girls right there are still in contention, and Wade, Long, and it looks like maybe Jackie Early.
So to get on the stand here, we do have a battle between 3rd and 4th, and even the girl in 5th would have a chance if she really went after it to come and get them. Got 200 meters to go for our leader.
Sims on the verge of winning his second state title this weekend. Can she get a record?
All right, folks, and here she comes. That's going to be Kara Sims of Elysian Field, the junior,
Right now.
looking to get double titles this weekend here.
And Kara Sims, Ollie Oxenfree home to the finish line. And it's going to be Salazar having to hold off Long, and I think Wade, who are battling for 3rd. But it's Kara Sims, 5:02, 5:03. That's a new state championship record.
Wow.
Conference championship for Sims. And she blows a kiss to the crowd and claps on the girls. And the battle, again, is for 3rd. And it looks like Ed is going to go to Wade, if I'm not mistaken. Salazar, 2nd place, 5:13.35. And that was Alexis Wade, 5:15.24, just over Presley Long. So you mentioned what she had to do to get around the 5:05 area, and she did that and a little bit more and comes away with state record.
She did. Really, the key was her 3rd lap. Between the 50th and 75th percentile of a race, you must attack that part of it to have any chance, and that's what she did.
So was that osmosis? How did you do that, get that into her head?
I think you talk about it a lot. You know, interesting back here a little further back, Salazar had quite a bit of lead over 3rd, but the girl in 3rd, Wade, she closed in 74 and Salazar in 77, so she made up 3 seconds on her. She needed to obviously make up 5, but she did a good job of catching up to Salazar. Didn't quite get her, but, yeah, still ran well.
We're on the track.
Yeah.
And 4:13.84 is the standard they are chasing, and that's going to be quite an effort there. But you saw yesterday Marco Cunningham from Waco Meyer. He made a hard press and pretty much ran away with that from start to finish. He's run 4:16.82, so that is, again, in his wheelhouse. Ricardo Marquez's record has stood since 1975. That's a long time. That's, 50 years?
Yes, it is. What was the record time?
4:13.84.
It's still going to be tough to take down today.
Yeah, it is. If Cunningham can get some help, he might be able to do that. He's got Cristiano Tinoco. He's a freshman from Bosqueville at 4:31. So, yeah, he may have to do a lot of heavy lifting on his own. Also in this race, Christian Sanchez from Plains, Aiden Ramirez from Waco Meyer. So Cunningham has a teammate. Matthew Schwandner from Brackett, Cristiano Tinoco, Bosqueville, Adrian Ramirez, Tanaha, Micah Zapata from Smyer, Zach Bourne, San Antonio Stacy, the aforementioned already state champion Marco Cunningham, Waco Meyer, and David Perez from Frost. And representative of his 3,200-meter race yesterday.
Yeah, he ran really
no
well.
Time wasted by Mr. Cunningham.
He ran a great race yesterday in the 3,200 meter.
And he had an outstanding fall, so the cross-country season has pretty much flipped the script here into the spring. He ran really well earlier this season at Texas A&M and looks to be bouncing back. He ran against better competition there. Here it is him and the clock. So we'll see what his 400-meter split is. 104 and some change just from my naked eye.
So if he's going to break the record, he has to average 63.3. So he's even going to have to do what he just did 3 more times and run a little bit faster somewhere to get the record.
If he can stay consistent, which is hard, I think he'll be right on the cusp of it and throw in a nice long, hard final lap. It's in within reach.
If he can come through in 3:08, 3:09, 3:10 even, and shut it and really close it down, he'll have a shot.
So he went through 600 about 138.
Yes.
So I don't know how much better he could have asked for unless he ran this last night, which might have been a little bit better. But great conditions here to be running 1,600 meters.
For a Saturday afternoon in May, this is fantastic.
Absolutely.
So he went 64.5 on the first lap, and Cunningham just went 66.21. So
he's going to have to pick it up here.
210's not going to – it's going to be really tough off of 210 to break 4:13.
Right, and I think he has nothing to lose here. I think he should just go for it. He's got a, I think, state title wrapped up, unless, I don't know.
See where he's at here at the 1,000. A 240 is a 4:16 pace, and he's a 2:42, so he's about 4:19 pace right now.
So not really seeing the makeup that you would have liked.
Well,
for
it
a
would
record.
take a tremendous last 500, 400 meters for him to have a shot.
And while we're talking about Mr. Cunningham, the race is for the second and third medals. That is Cristiano Tinoco. He comes in with the best time, second best time. Just a freshman, but he leads the chase pack. Cunningham is going to hear the bell.
So he's about 3:15.
All right, that is the relay lap. That is the bell lap here.
So it's Tinoco and Bourne in second and third.
1 mile run here. Let's give it up for Marco Cunningham of Waco Meyer. 3:15.
And if you're Cunningham, you know you have a gold medal. You're not going to get the record.
It's pride.
Is this like your?
Yeah, no, this is pride. And, he's a distance runner, so he's maxing himself out here to run this 1,600 as fast as he's running it.
And is this your farewell lap to high school?
It probably is.
And you got about 75 meters on the nearest person. The crowd is cheering.
I believe we said yesterday he's going to Johns Hopkins.
It is not bad.
No.
It's not bad at all.
Means he's a student also. So here he's go. He's got 100 meters to go. He's got a 4:05. So, yeah, he's right 4:18 to 4:20 range.
And as far as we know, this is his tip of the cap of his running career in Texas as he heads off to the East Coast. This is Marco Cunningham, 2 state championships. It looks like Zach Bourne from San Antonio Stacy has moved past Tinoco. He's going to get silver, Tinoco bronze. So Tinoco is getting a little baptism here from the 2 seniors, and they'll let him have his pie next year. But 4:28.08 for Zach Bourne, 4:29.07 for Tinoco, and fourth with Matthew Schwandener from Bracket for 34:30.
Bracket, yes.
So if we're looking down at this, your first 2 runners are going to graduate, and not down till you get to Micah Zapata from Smyer in 7th place, the next person who is going to graduate. Everyone else could be back here next year if they advance through the several rounds of qualifying here that we have in Texas. So we could be seeing this on the fall from a lot of these gentlemen and back again next year.
Your most likely guy, especially definitely at 2A, 3A level, the guy that can win the state in the mile, he's going to probably have the best chance to come back and be regional and state champion in cross country.
All right, folks, we are back here. I am Will Grundy, joined by Coach Scott Hippensteel. We have the 4x4s on the track set out before us. Give you a rundown of the teams. San Augustine in lane 1, Cisco in 2, Wink in 3, Mason 4, Panhandle 5, Hamilton 6, Garrison 7, Refugio 8, and Lindsay in lane 9. Panhandle, tight group of girls who have been here before. They have a season-leading time of 3:57.34. A lot of these girls are back from last year. They're looking to take down, hopefully, maybe possibly the state title of 3:55.79 that some of their other teammates ran a couple years ago.
So I got to go back on what I said. El Paso is closer to Austin than it is San Diego. I was wrong.
Okay.
I had it wrong.
I still don't think that should deter us from possibly
But
going to San Diego next year.
It's not that much further.
And you just rained on my parade here. But the other girls in this race, Hamilton has run 4:01. So they are just close to that 4-minute barrier. Lindsay has gone 4:05, Mason 4:08, Wink 4:08. So keep an eye on this. However, it should be a dominating race by Panhandle. They, of course, in several years of experience, know how to run a 4x4. And they're off. Refugio out in lane 8. They currently are leading the team standings. And according to Coach Hippensteel moments ago, they are clear and free of a state championship. However, you want to end this on the best note possible. Looks like Hamilton in lane 6 making up some ground. They've caught and passed Garrison. Panhandle not too far away from them.
So they're not they haven't clinched it. Refugio has 70, Panhandle has 52. Refugio basically just needs to score. They just need to get 6 to clinch a tie, and they need to get 5th to guarantee that they've won.
So it's going down to the 4x4, and we are here, folks. Out in lane 9, that is Lindsay looking good, but it is Hamilton handing off first and then Panhandle. Refugio with a little exchange difficulty there. Nevertheless, they have the baton, and they are still in good position. But it is Panhandle as they pass their 2 right on the outside, and they're looking to get to the pole position before Lindsay does. And they do.
So Panhandle wins, and Refugio gets 7th. Then Panhandle could take the title.
And that's trouble because Refugio is in 7th and Panhandle is in the lead. So I'm going to guess coaches told them exactly what they need to do.
Yeah.
And Refugio now battling back. They move up to 6th.
Yep.
Refugio with the huge lead as we expected. 158 right at the half-mile mark. And then there's some change, some I don't know, craziness there.
Yep. That was strange.
A couple girls run past their 3rd leg.
Roy, I'm looking where is Refugio right now?
I believe that's them in 5th.
Right.
I see some orange. So they're in safe position at the moment, but
Barely.
the 6th and 7th place teams are not far behind.
They're barely in.
Panhandle still mashing out up there in front, extending their lead more and more with each baton pass.
Refugio has to come back and get at least 1 place.
Because they have fallen back to 7th. But can they put in a kick here on this anchor leg? They are, but so is everyone else. They're going to be 5-6 meters behind where they need to be, and Panhandle is about 30-40 meters ahead of everyone. But that was a good finish there from Refugio, and they did what they needed to do, I believe, Scott. They're in 4th.
Okay. They're back where they're just inside the margin of error. Panhandle's going to get 20, and that'll give them 72 points.
I think the good thing for Refugio is the 8th and 9th place teams have fallen back.
Yeah. So
Actually, I take that back. That is Refugio in 7th. So that's Refugio in 7th where they don't need to be, correct?
they don't need to be there.
All right, so we need to watch them.
Here
Panhandle is far and away going to win this race, but it's tight there for 3rd. Refugio's in 7th. They need to pass this team. It looks like they're going to do that.
That literally, I think, puts these 2 teams in a tie.
You don't say.
I think they're tied.
3:54,
So that's 72.
39.
Oh, this would be tragic.
And Refugio's in the battle for the gold trophy in first
Oh.
place, and I think they're going to lose it out.
Uh-oh.
I think they lose out. That is possibly a state title for Panhandle, the team
Were they-
title,
they-
and the state record.
Panhandle would go to 72, and Refugio would stay at 70, I think, if we've got it right. It's extremely close.
Well, we'll check those team standings. What did happen is they won in 3:54:35, displacing the 2022 Panhandle team from the state record holders.
Yes, I've got Refugio not scoring. So that means that Panhandle would win the state meet 72-70.
And look at them flexing. I think they know it.
I don't know that. I suspect they don't really
Or
know. Now maybe they know.
I think they're now realizing they won or a state record. I don't know what they're realizing, but a lot to celebrate there. And if you don't know where Panhandle is, folks, look at a map, but the name says it all. It'll give you some directions. Moving on to the 5A boys. Excuse me, 2A boys. I'm moving, folks. Hawley. We've seen the Patan brothers do some work today. They're both going to be back here. They have run 3:20.32 along with their boys Owen Clark and Braylon Williams. 2A record, however, we're going to keep an eye on is 3:18.24 set by Monday in 1988. I think a record can go down because of how close teams are. Tioga, they've run 3:20.34. Hamilton has run 3:22. Wellington, Mason, Frankston, they've all run 3:20s. 3:22s, and Wellington has as well. So that's 4 or 5 teams there, along with the 2 who are at 3:20. This is going to be a fantastic race here, Scott.
Yeah, Mason in 8th is in 8th place with 18 points, so they've got points to gain. Tioga's in the lead with 50. Let's see, who else do we have in the race?
I think Junction should have some points, maybe Hamilton and Mason, but Hawley for sure.
So going into the 4x4, here's our scores. Tioga has 50 points in first, Hawley 46 in second, Big Lake 40 in third, Waco Meyer 21 in fourth, Bremen 20 in fifth, tied with Ropes with 20, tied with Stratford with 20, and Mason with 18.
So Mason, I think they're in this race. I don't think they can get third as Big Lake Country has 40. But Tioga and Hawley definitely are going to want to win this race. It's going to come down to it. In lane 1 is Junction, 2 Alba Golden, 3 Hamilton, 4 Mason, 5 Hawley, 6 Wellington, Frankston 7, Tioga 8, and Panhandle 9.
So if Hawley beats Tioga by 1 spot, they would be tied as long as it's in the top 5 spots, because then you get down to the 2. So you go 20, 16, 12, 8, 4, and 2. If Hawley beats Tioga by 1, they're tied. If they beat them by 2, they win.
So how good of a race is it going to be? Hawley, top C time, 3:20.32. Tioga, second C time, 3:20.34.
Oh, my gosh. This is crazy.
200ths of a second.
Well,
200ths of a
2
second.
team championships in a row are really coming right down to the mile relay.
Can't ask for much better. You can't write a book better than this
This
or a
is-
movie.
This is the script right here.
These are what they call the UIL state championships.
Literally comes down to the last race.
Every year, every classification, same script, just different actors. And we are off. So far today, the 2A, 5A teams, not a one false start.
Again,
Great start to the day, and it looks to be, it's going to set up to a great finish of these 2A championships.
I guess it also means the starter's done a really good job.
Oh, yeah, what am I talking about? All credit, kudos to the starters and the officials. And we're looking at
And
Frankston.
the crowd. Nobody
For sure.
making a noise that causes somebody to false start.
So lane 8, that's Tioga. They know what they have to do. And Panhandle in 9. But there is Hawley in lane 5. They're catching everybody. Tioga's going to have their work cut out. It's one of the Patan bros. Don't know which one.
He just ran 47.5 to lead off.
And well, both of them run 48. So if you got one of them on the front, one of them on the end, that's
I think that's
a good formula. Looks like Hamilton down in 3, trying to cut into that gap. Tioga, if they want to get closer, this, I believe, is one of the legs to do it. And a very nice.
Tioga has brought it back. They're back to third.
Yeah, that tangent was almost as perfect as you can ask for.
Whoa.
And look how them
He is really
run
good.
this turn.
The second leg of Tioga has really run well.
Hawley's going to have to kick it into gear. I want some drama. I wanted to play out. And he heard me from my mouth to his ears. It's the battle we were looking for. And then more. Hawley with a little bit of a mishap there, but they were able to keep it in movement.
Their second leg ran 51-2. So I know the Tioga second leg must have run closer to 48-49.
This is bad news because Tioga sees Hamilton go by. And I want to say that might be Junction. I'm not sure if they're wearing darker white or light colors. They think they're black. But this is Hawley moving away. And here comes Tioga.
They came back.
He's sensing this getaway.
They've got to stay within one spot of him. Right now, the title would be tied. The two teams would tie.
And Tioga doesn't look like they want to tie.
Now Tioga would take the lead.
Other than in their name, it's Tioga.
Oh,
it's Hawley.
Look who we got on the anchor leg.
One of the Patans. I don't know if that is Francis or if that's Carl. It almost don't matter because here he comes.
If Hawley only beats Tioga, they tie. If Tioga falls to third and Hawley wins,
look at that.
They win.
Hawley goes by.
200 to go.
Tioga had a response, but it wasn't enough. And now he turns it on. We have 150 left to go, Scott. It is on. The 2A boys team championships comes down to this 4x4.
Wow.
It's Hawley. It's Tioga. It's Hawley. They're separated by 200s and their season's best, and that's what's going to take. Who's going to win this? It's going to be Tioga. It's going to be Hawley. I don't know. Look at that dive to the finish. This is for a team title.
Yes.
We're going to have to let the timer settle
Again,
this.
If Hawley wins, Tioga gets second, they tie. If Tioga won the race, they've won the championship.
And the race is over, but we don't know. They're giving it. It says Tioga.
Yep.
3:18:57. And
Wow.
Hawley 3:18:58. That young man from Tioga had one of the top sprinters in the state of Texas. And they wave goodbye, farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. How exciting was that, man?
Yeah. You want both teams to win. And actually, they would have tied on the team's championship had Hawley beaten them by 1/100. So
I would have liked that. A tie. But Tioga said no.
That is correct.
So, 5A girls and boys, top that. That was worth the price of admission today, if I say so. But
just that one race.
Track fans, we want more. If there's more, we want to see more. And we'll let the 5A girls see what they got. Iowa Colony, they come in with a 3:45.11. That's some moving, folks. They are the top seed.